initiation is a means of rewarding ambitious men who can be trusted, you will notice that the higher the degree of initiation, the fewer the members who possess the degree. Now, this is not because the other members are not ambitious, but because a process of very careful selection is being conducted. You see, a point is reached where no effort is good enough without a pull-up by the higher members. Most members never proceed beyond this point and never learn the real secret purpose of the group. The member frozen at that point, from that point on, serves only as a part of the political power base, as indeed he has always done, and provides a political consensus that leads the body politic in a direction away from which it would have gone if this group had not existed in their midst. You may have guessed by now that initiation is a way to determine who can and cannot be trusted, who believes in the mystery God and who does not. A method of deciding exactly who is to become an adept may be decided during initiation by literally asking the candidate to spit upon the Christian cross. If the candidate refuses, the members congratulate him and tell him, "You have made the right choice, as a true adept would never do such a terrible thing." The newly initiated might find it disconcerting, however, that he or she never advances any higher, no matter how hard they work, study, participate, or beg. If instead the candidate spits upon the cross, he or she has demonstrated a knowledge of one of the mysteries and soon will find him or herself a candidate for the next higher level. You see, almost all of these require a belief in a higher being, but they never, ever tell you who that being is. And it is forbidden to mention the name of Jesus the Christ in the lodge. And that should give you a clue. The mystery, literally, is that religion is but a tool to control the masses. Knowledge or wisdom is their only God, through which man himself will become God. Wisdom is represented and has been represented throughout the history of the world as the serpent, the snake. Satan, Lucifer, the snake and the dragon are both symbols of wisdom. Lucifer is the personification of the symbol.
But they're all very, very connected. And that's the thing, people don't want to think about this stuff. They see an owl in a music video and they think he's talking about Bohemian Grove and all this and that. Well, why is the owl the logo? Why didn't they pick an elephant? Why didn't they pick a bear? Why did they pick an owl? Well, because the owls are out at night, and that is when they do these satanic rituals at night. It's all in our faces, guys. This stuff is not a conspiracy. This is not a joke. You've got to wake up. TXT, the K-pop industry, all these people I continue to expose are not who they say they are. They are evil, and they are extremely wicked.
It was Lucifer who tempted Eve to entice Adam to eat of the tree of knowledge. Tree of knowledge. Tree of knowledge. Had nothing to do, ladies and gentlemen, with any apple. And thus free man from the bonds of ignorance. The worship, which is a lot different from study of knowledge, science, or technology, is Satanism in its purest form. And its god is Lucifer. Its secret symbol is the all-seeing eye in the pyramid. Undesirable effects of secret societies and their aura of mystery has sometimes given them the reputation for being abnormal associations, or at the very least, strange groups of people. Whenever their beliefs are those of the majority, they are no longer considered antisocial. A good example is the Christian Church, which was at one time a secret society under the Roman Empire. They were a minority, persecuted. In fact, the open, friendly secret society actually ruled most, if not all, of the known world at one time after when the Roman Empire became literally the Vatican. And the emperor became the Pope. It was a marriage. You see, the small cult of Christians were threatening the empire. And no matter how many they killed, 3 times as many sprang up to take their place. So a very, very wise Roman Empire named Constantine. Actually, he was not the empire, even though I'm sure he thought he was. He was the emperor. He married the Roman pantheon of gods with the teachings of this cult called Christianity, or Christians, and created what is now today known as the Catholic Church, from which all other Christian churches sprang. The pantheon of Roman gods became the pantheon of saints. The emperor became the Pope. And from that day, Rome ruled the world another 1,200 years and staved off the destruction of the empire. In fact, the empire grew and spread and took in all of Europe. Most secret societies are generally considered to be antisocial. They're believed to contain elements that are not liked or are outright harmful to the community in general. This is exactly the case in some instances. Communism and fascism are secret societies in many countries where they are prohibited by law. In this country, the Nazi Party and the Ku Klux Klan are secret societies due mostly to the fact that the general public is disgusted by them. Their activities are sometimes illegal, thus the secrecy of their membership. The early Christians were a secret society because Roman authorities considered them from the start to be a dangerous group to imperial rule. The same was true of the followers of Islam. At least some of these true believers, working in secret, accomplished what would turn out to be for the eventual good of society. The Drusid and Yazidis in Syria and Iraq consider the Arabs a dangerous secret society dedicated to the takeover of the world. The Arabs today think the same of the Jews. Catholics and Freemasons used to have precisely the same ideas about each other. Now at the highest levels, they are one organization. Documented in a book entitled The Broken Cross by Piers Compton. In many primitive or backward societies, initiation into the highest degrees of the group involved subjection to trials, which not infrequently resulted in death or insanity for the candidate. It can be seen that social right and wrong is not the yardstick in estimating the value of a secret society. Usually, with these people, the end justifies the means. In Borneo, a tribal society, initiates of hunting organizations consider it meritorious and compulsory to hunt heads. In Polynesia, infanticide and debauch were considered essential for initiation into their societies, where the tribal code needed members who indulged in these things as pillars of society. You see, since the beginning of recorded history, governmental bodies of every nation have been involved with maintaining the status quo to defend the establishment against minority groups that sought to function literally as states within states, or to oust the constituted authority and take over in its place, either by subterfuge, coup d'etat, or open revolution. Many of these attempts, as we all know, if we read history, have succeeded, but have not always lasted. Man's desire to be one of the elect is something that no power on earth has been able to lessen, let alone destroy. It is one of the secrets of secret societies. It is what gives them a political base and lots of clout. Members often vote the same and give each other preference in daily business, legal, and social activities. It is the deepest desire of many to be able to say, I belong to the elect. I am better than all of these other people. And I know a secret. After all, haven't I been chosen to belong to this elite organization of fraternal brothers who control the community? I am special. Houses of worship and sacrifice existed in all of the ancient cities. They were in fact temples built to honor the many gods. These buildings, ladies and gentlemen, functioned often as meeting places for philosophers and mystics who were in fact the priests and the leaders of those cities. They were believed to possess the secrets of nature. These men usually banded together in seclusive philosophic and religious schools, known as the mysteries. Those who did not belong were known as the profane. The most important of all of these ancient groups is the Brotherhood of the Snake and the Dragon, as I have revealed to you earlier, and was simply known as the Mysteries. The snake and dragon are symbols that represent wisdom. You can see in the ancient hieroglyphics and paintings upon the walls of the tombs in Egypt that the elect, the priests, the leaders, the pharaohs, wore the symbol of the snake upon their forehead. They were members of the mysteries. They had to be to rule. For if they did not know the secrets of ruling, the secrets of nature, they could not control the mass of the profane, or, as some others call them, cattle or sheep. The father of wisdom, ladies and gentlemen, is Lucifer, also called the light bearer. The focus of worship for the mysteries was Osiris in Egypt, another name of Lucifer. Osiris was the name of a bright star that the ancients believed had been cast down onto the earth. The literal meaning of Lucifer is bringer of light. The star is bright. The truth is light. Republic of Texas. Osiris was the name of a bright star that the ancients believed had been cast down onto the earth. The literal meaning of Lucifer is bringer of light, or the morning star. Many people have it all wrong. They look to the sky to find the morning star and they point to Venus. And they are wrong. The star that rises in the morning, ladies and gentlemen, is the sun. The sun. The star is bright. The truth is light. After Osiris was gone from the sky, the ancients saw the sun as the representation of Osiris, or more correctly, Lucifer. Albert Pike said, and I quote, "Osiris was represented by the sun," end quote. In the Bible, in Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12, quote, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer," end quote. Fred Giddings, in his book Symbolism in Occult Art, said this, quote, "It is claimed that after Lucifer fell from heaven, he brought with him the power of thinking as a gift for mankind," end quote. They believed that God was evil. He was holding man prisoner in the Garden of Eden in the bonds, the chains of ignorance. Lucifer set man free from these bonds, these chains of ignorance, with the gift of intellect, through the use of which man himself will become God. Lucifer is Prometheus. Lucifer is the lightning bolt that strikes the tree and sets it afire, from which man took a burning branch, and by adding more wood, kept the fire burning, and noticed that when he piled certain rocks around the fire, and they got hot enough, something melted and flowed out into the ground. From this he learned to make tools. You see, without the fire that the philosophers of fire worship, without the serpent, Lucifer, there would be no Ford Broncos today for me to drive. This is what they believe. And so they worship the symbol, which is Lucifer, and they strive through their work to accomplish the great plan and guide the evolution of man into apotheosis. Most of the greatest dangerous rites. Some of which were very cruel. Most of the greatest minds that have ever lived were initiated into the society of mysteries by secret and dangerous rites, some of which were very cruel. Some of the most famous were known as Osiris, Isis, Sabazius, Sibyl, and Eleusis. Plato was one of these initiates, and in his writings he describes some of the mysteries and his own initiation.
And then we see this guy on a bed, and he's growing horns out of his head. Now, the first TXT video I exposed, I think it was their first video in general, they all had horns coming out of their head, or a couple of them. So they're always having horns coming out of their head in their music videos, but I'm supposed to believe they just love, reindeer and deer, and, they just want to have horns. They want to be like deer running around in a forest, right? I mean, give me an absolute break with this trash. It's unbelievable the excuses people will come up to defend this nonsense. You got to put your ego aside and start to realize this stuff is real. And that's why I continue to expose it over and over and over again, so you can see the repetition and you can start to pick up on these things and realize I'm not just making stuff up. I'm just showing you the stuff they show you over and over again. And I'm speaking the truth. It's time to wake up. TXT has sold out to the K-pop industry, and the K-pop industry has sold out to Lucifer. It's unbelievable. And then we see here, and the guy goes out into the woods, and his horns have grown longer. You can't really tell here, but you'll see it later. His horns have grown longer, and we see skeletons everywhere, spiders, skull and bones represents the Skull and Bones secret society, where these presidents, these politicians, all these people of power get indoctrinated through and make their way up, and then they become presidents, politicians, CEOs. It's all there, guys. It's all there. And then here we see the one-eye symbolism. Of course, every single music video I've exposed so far always has the one-eye symbolism, but they're just trying to troll me, I guess, right? You think these people do this just to troll? You're out of your mind. They're paying homage. It is the one eye, the all-seeing eye of Lucifer. It's on the back of your freaking dollar bill, on top of a pyramid. But we're supposed to believe, all these pictures are a coincidence as well. All these people that have the one-eye symbolism, that just throw a hand over their one eye for no reason over and over and over again. It's just cool, I guess, right? Everyone just secretly wants to have one eye. They want to be blind in the other eye, I guess. I mean, it's unbelievable. You can't make this stuff up. You really can't. And then we see here, this is just... my goodness, we see this guy here, and he's growing wings, and it, of course, it looks exactly like the Baphomet wings. Okay, it's unfreaking believable, guys. Unbelievable. These people are satanic. These people are evil. Don't listen to their music. They're casting spells.
Plato's initiation, ladies and gentlemen, encompassed 3 days of entombment in the Great Pyramid, during which time he died symbolically, was reborn, and was given secrets that he was to preserve. Plato's writings are full of information on the mysteries. Manly P. Hall stated in his book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages, that, quote, the illumined of antiquity entered its portals as men, they came forth as gods, end quote. And he was talking about the Great Pyramid of Giza. The ancient Egyptian word for pyramid was kuti, spelled K-H-U-T-I, which literally meant glorious light. Mr. Hall says also, quote, the pyramids, the great Egyptian temples of initiation, end quote. You see, ladies and gentlemen, they were never, ever tombs for anyone. They were temples of initiation. How does that grab you? Also described by Malachi Martin in his book, The Keys to This Blood, written with the blessings of the Pope, described that the Pope is now waiting for a great light which will appear in the heavens, signaling the greatest return of humanity to the Church in the history of the world. The first secret that one must know to even begin to understand the mysteries is that their members believe that there are but few truly mature minds in the world. And I never believed that until I started dealing with the sheeple, and now I'm not so certain that they're wrong. They believe that those minds belong exclusively to them. That I still disagree with, because I'm not one of them, and I think I've got a pretty good mind. And I know some other people who are not part of them, and I think they have some pretty good minds also. The philosophy that follows is the classic secret society view of humanity. Quote, when a person of strong intellect is confronted with a problem which calls for the use of reasoning faculties, they keep their poise and attempt to reach a solution by garnering facts bearing upon the question. On the other hand, those who are immature, when confronted by the same problem, are overwhelmed. While the former may be said to be qualified to solve the mystery of their own destiny, the latter must be led like a bunch of animals and taught in the simplest language. Like sheep, they are totally dependent upon the shepherd. The able intellect is taught the mysteries and the esoteric spiritual truths. The masses are taught the literal exoteric interpretations. While the masses worship the five senses, the select few observe, recognizing in the gulf between them the symbolic concretions of great abstract truths. The initiated elect communicate directly to gods, who communicate back to them. The masses sacrifice their lambs on an altar facing a stone idol that can neither hear or speak. The elect are given knowledge of the mysteries and are illumined, and are thus known as the Illuminati, or the illuminated ones, the guardians of the secrets of the ages, end quote.